Hey everybody, Nick here, and today I'd like to try something a little bit new on the channel. I'd like to try a brand new approach. That is, I'd like to give you some first impressions of some recent arrivals on the desk. The reason that I'm doing this is because, well, my channel tends to be a little slow, right? Because of the way that I do things, with disassembly, with a carry, and with a pretty detailed and analytical review, takes a fair amount of time. And so as a result, I end up not being the first one past the post with any brand new products, right? That is absolutely a thing. And I tell all the makers I work with this, and you all know the score, right? And at some level, it's a great thing, because it means if you want something right now, if something is brand new released, very often you might go to a channel that you might not have heard of before, and that's how new channels get discovered. So not too bad out of shape, but at the same time, it's a little frustrating to me, too, because a bunch of people, if I show something off on Instagram, next thing you know, I'm getting 15 DMs, Nick, what's it like? Should I get one? And so I'd like to kind of bridge that gap a little bit, and every so often, show off some of the new things that have arrived on my table and give my first impressions. Now, in some cases, I've carried things actually a fair amount. I just haven't filmed the review yet. And in other cases, I may just have gotten something out of the package. And, of course, there's a chance that I'm going to miss something that's great or something that's ugly on either side. And more carry might change my opinions. So please don't hold this to be legally binding, so to speak. But, for folks who want my first impressions, I want to go on ahead and give those. And this could be a really good opportunity as well to, handle all kinds of different things. Even if something isn't quite enough of a gem to merit a full review, maybe it could end up here. I don't know. I'm playing this one by ear, but let me know what you think. Let's go on to the stuff that's actually on the table, because I do have some really cool stuff here. Our very first one of these guys is the Tuya Knives Street Legal. This is a double detent slip joint, and it really is a strong double detent slip joint. This has one of the strongest springs, effectively. There is no back spring here. But this has one of the strongest double detent actions I am aware of, which means it takes a lot of force to close this guy relative to a lot of your double detent guys. Like, for instance, this is another example of that. This is the CRKT Symmetry, which is asymmetrical, but this has a much, much less amount of force required, whereas this guy really feels like a conventional slip joint with a half stop and everything. So, it's a really interesting knife in that way. The grind on it is reasonably good, although it definitely gets thicker at the bottom here. It's clear that they didn't plunge all the way down at this end, but at the same time, I'm kind of impressed. It comes with a little leather pouch. This is a cool little piece, and I think for folks who need a slip joint and who want something a little bit more modern, could be interesting. I don't have pricing information or anything like that, but it's something that you might keep an eye on, and it's kind of neat. Next up on the list is the Tactile Turn Rockwall. This is a good knife. This is a knife I've actually carried pretty substantially. I'm pretty close to being able to do a final review on it, but it might be a little while yet, so I figured I'd throw it up here. This is a knife that is really exceptionally well done. This is Tactile Knife Company, which is, by the way, the same folks that make Tactile Turn pens, right? They've just decided, let's get into knives, and boy, did they ever. This is a knife that is exceptionally well done for somebody's very first outing. Frankly, this is exceptionally well done for somebody's fifth or sixth. But it's a liner lock, it's in titanium, it's got the same kind of tactile turn, basically patterning on the handle here. The design on it is very nice. The grind is just excellent. Really nice and thin grind on this guy. Blade is XHP, made in the USA. This is a very, very nice little knife, as well as, by the way, a very nice action with a beautifully dialed in detent at this point. Oh, man. So I'm actually very, very impressed by this guy. And the fact that it is their very first piece, like, wow. At some very real level, wow. I know that my very first knife wouldn't be this good, and so that's a real testament to, Tactile Turn's pretty solid excellence. Speaking of solid excellence, this guy is a very exciting knife. This is the Demko Knives AD-20.5. Yeah, we're into decimal country, right? But this is the new production version of the Demko Knives AD-20, whose full size I actually have in my full collection here, but I'll throw these guys up next to each other on the camera. Size comparison. Yeah, this is a lot smaller. It's also a lot thinner. The blade on this guy is thinner, although the grinds are actually not so far apart in terms of it. But nonetheless, this guy has steel liners, some kind of looks like maybe G10 or maybe an injection molded plastic. Not 100% sure which, but anyways, it has itself a nice set of handles here. It's got itself a clip that can be mounted for left side. It is the fully ambidextrous Shark Lock, which is a really beautiful system. I am very, very impressed with this. The steel on it is AUS 10A, which is probably the least impressive thing about it, but the price is not bad, and this is a way to put hands on one of the more interesting and innovative locks that's been released in the last few years. I am absolutely thrilled to see Demko Knives doing more production stuff, and I would be even more absolutely thrilled to see them do the custom full-tie version in this size. Oh my god, yes. So the AD-20.5 is a knife that, given I haven't done the full review yet, but I am very, very impressed by. And there's going to have to be some serious issues that I uncover later on for this not to end up with gem status. This is a very, very nice little knife and a really good adaptation of what was a really, really good custom-ish, I don't know what to call these things, sort of knife. Next up on the list is this little guy right here. This is the Protech Knives Runt. This is a brand new version of the Runt. I have a review up of the Protech Runt that is very harshly critical because the last version of it, in my estimation, deserved it. It was a knife that had a lot of downsides. This one has addressed them. They've moved the clip to tip up carry, which is great. And, you know, normally I'm biased against tip up, but in this case I was exceptionally biased because it was really bad with the positioning of the button and whatnot. The action remains great. The handle on this particular one is a brass, it's a brass aluminum, bronze aluminum sort of thing. It is some kind of an alloy or another, but it is really, really nice. Looks great. They've put a little mosaic pin button on this guy. And then you can see here that there's just a little bit of polish on this blade, actually a fair amount of polish on this blade, which is a beautiful thing. By the way, you can check out the I Am Nick Shabazz t-shirt available at Shabazz.com. That's right, reflective plug. But anyways, this is a really cool little knife. I am very impressed with this little guy, and it's a testament to just how much nicer a little bit of iteration can make something excellent. By the way, they also have a more vanilla chalky black aluminum version with a different blade shape as well. All of those are out there, but this is a cool little knife, and definitely one that I've been enthusiastic about. Spyderco Police 4. This guy is, look, I'm not going to be the first person with a Police 4 review, right? This is a long-standing model. This is the version K390. This knife is ridiculous in my hands. It's frankly ridiculous, I think, in most people's hands, but this is gigantic, but at the same time, it's very nice, and it's further evidence to me, because I've carried this guy, actually, more than I expected to. The K390 is a great steel. I'm a big fan of that, and so keep an eye out for this, but my basic feeling is like, have you ever looked at the Endura and said, make it longer? And in that case, your Police 4 is kind of where you're at, right? There's a lot of interesting stuff there. Speaking of interesting, this guy is the Acta Non Verba Z050 knife. This is a slip joint, and it's another double detent style slip joint, and this one does not have the half stop, but it does have a very strong back spring. There's not any safety area down here. That is, this could actually close on your hand if you're not careful. And the blade stock is a little thin, is a little thick with N690, but at the same time, it's a neat little knife, and they've actually got themselves a little bit of glow, looks like glow powder in the this little area here, which is kind of ridiculous, but not uncool. But it's going to be a very interesting knife if you're looking for a kind of stylish slip jointy sort of affair. The biggest downside that I've had so far is I couldn't do the disassembly because it's thread locked shut with a free spinning pivot and an untooled pivot on the other side, which is not amazing. But at the same time, like I said, it's going to be interesting if you're looking for a two-hand open slip joint sort of thing that's got a little bit more style, a little bit more panache than some of the other options. This guy is the Ontario RAT II, except things are a little bit different here. This is a very weird knife in that it's the Ontario RAT II, except they redid the scales, so they put on a pair of titanium scales, and then the blade is M390. M390 rebladed RAT II. This is the ship of Theseus RAT II. How many parts can you replace and say it's still the same knife? This has been done by EDCGearHouse /WayOfKnife up there in Michigan, Traverse City. A great set of folks, and the fact that they're ordering these scales, these blades, and turning the RAT II into actually a high-end titanium liner lock with M390 is weird, but welcome. It's actually a very nicely done thing. The action's very nice. I've been trying to figure out what the heck to do with this. Like, this is just a high-end RAT II, but not from Ontario. But it's pretty nice, right? It's a cool idea, and just knowing that that's an option is kind of awesome. Right here, Cricket Quattro. Quattro. This is the Cinco, actually. I'm sorry. I subtracted one accidentally. There was the Quattro already, I think. This is the Cinco. So anyways, this is the Cricket Cinco. This is an interesting piece. It is just a good old-fashioned unassisted frame, flipper bolster lock sort of affair. It's I think it's a frame lock, because the frame is what's locking it, and this is just a bolster on top of it. Whatever the heck it is, it's a knife. It's pretty well done, actually. It's got a very nice action. It's got a good unassisted action, which is beautiful. And you know what? For the price, okay, yeah, can't get too bad out of shape. By the way, I'm not going to be doing much in the way of price with these guys, because I very often don't know it until a later point in my review. Then finally, one of the pieces, not quite finally, actually. First off, there's this guy. This is the Monterey Bay Knives Fieldtrekker. I am not generally a big fixed blade guy, right? Both in terms of big fixed blades and a big fixed blade guy, right? That's not usually my style. But this guy is really nice. This is designed by Ray Laconico, as you probably can tell by this, or frankly, that. It's a very minimalist sort of look, but this is a really, really nice fixed blade knife. With this handle in sort of a burlap micarta, it gives it a little bit of texture, but also a little bit of it fits really well in the hand. It's beautifully machined and drilled, and all the various fit and finish is great. The steel, I believe, to be a 3V at a very high hardness, which is excellent steel. It just sharpens up beautifully, and even the sheath on it is actually quite nice. This is a beautiful object, and with a little bit of polish on the blade, with this kind of a convex thing, absolutely great. This is a really, really nice fixed blade, and I got this guy in just, as sort of a, hey, what do you think about this? From Monterey Bay, knowing that I'm not really a fixed blade guy, and my thoughts on it was, okay, I'll take it. Well, how much do you want? And so, because this is just a really, really nice little knife. I have been very, very impressed with this guy, and it's frankly just attractive. It's a very nice object, I feel like. So this was a really kind of a dark horse, like me, fall in love with a relatively large fixed blade. Well, large by my standards. Yeah, I guess so. Hey, it works. Whatever. So that's a beautiful thing. And then finally, on the table is this little guy right here. This is relatively close to a review, but I figure I'll just go ahead and mention it here. This is the Formex Reef. This is a really, really, really good watch. I'm close enough to writing the review that I can very safely say this is a gem. This is a really nice watch, and it's a really nice watch in a bunch of ways. Not only is it accurate with COSC certification, not only does it have the features, the lume, that kind of thing, does it have a good bezel, etc. It's relatively thin. It's relatively lightweight, mostly because it's not as heavy as some other things. But then the magic comes in the clasp, which has a toolless quick adjust. It's really well done. This is a watch that is technically excellent, as well as, by the way, a quick removal system on the bracelet that I've not seen anywhere else, that allows you to pop the bracelet out without any tools as well. That is really cool. I am super duper impressed with this watch, and I don't think I'm spoiling anything by saying that at a certain point, I think like day 3 of wearing this guy for review, I said, hey, so this review sample's staying. What do you want for it? That's a thing. So this is a really impressive watch. It's just beautifully done, very, very technically excellent, and just a damn good watch anyways, and may well cause some changes in my collection. I've been really enjoying this piece. So that's good. We talked about this guy already. This is the CRKT Symmetry. Fine little knife, is a double detent guy. The detent on it is a little bit weaker. The action's a little bit less good. I'm not sure I would send anybody this way, but the price is probably going to be right, or at least the price had better be right. But there are other options out there. I might go Monterey Bay WC, or frankly, this Acta Non Verba, or frankly, there were lots of options out there. But, for the price, this could be interesting. So anyways, those are some of the things that are on my table right now. I got some other stuff in the waiting in the wings, so to speak. Maybe I'll do another one of these guys next week if this is interesting to you. But either way, hopefully this is interesting. Let me know in the comments whether you'd like to see this kind of thing happen again. And let me know your thoughts, and keep an eye out for full reviews on all of the gear that I'm showing you here. And we will take it from there. Hope this has been interesting. Have yourselves an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. Bye now.